Welcome to Her Ink Empire. I'm Justine Almaraz, and this is the podcast that redefines what's possible for you in the tattoo industry and in your tattoo education, not only in technical skills, but in business. This show is for fine artists, creatives, visionaries, artists of all kinds, even doodlers, who are ready to not just build a career, but a legacy. Here we merge mastery, freedom, and creative power to surpass the outdated industry norms, the outdated rules, and step fully into our creative power and roles as leaders in our communities. If you've ever felt like there has to be a better way, a better option to learn tattooing, to earn in this industry, and to lead in tattooing, you're in the right place. So let's build your empire, one bold, daring step at a time. Let's dive in. How are you?
Good to talk to you.
You too, and good to see you.
Good to see you again after so long too.
I know.
I'm very, how can I say, electrified with the possibility of this conversation because we are women telling our own stories. Right. And in the world as we've been living in it and as we've been learning from, it's important to tell our stories, right? Especially as artists. And yeah, I'm very glad to share it with you, fellow artists that I admire so much.
Yeah. Same, Madi, same. Mm-hmm. I'm really honored to get to do this with you.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. My pleasure and honor, for sure. So, do you want to dive in?
Yeah, where do we start? I was thinking,
Yeah.
Well, when you invited me last time we spoke, it was pandemics, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I told you,
yep.
Yeah, you confirmed that, right? So, I told you about my journey with tattooing in Brazil and how I started tattooing almost 20 years ago. I see myself and acknowledge myself as a pioneer in the contemporary fine line style in Brazil. I remember when I started one of my masters, I remember him telling me, well, I want you to compete in one of these conventions because I would go with him to conventions in São Paulo. But I don't even know which category, And yeah, so we talked about that. And later on throughout my studies, I found out this article. It's actually a master's degree that this girl called Noemi Lima, she's a tattoo artist from the state of Ceará, where I'm from. She wrote about how I am the first woman there that has it's actually acknowledged as a tattoo artist in the state of Ceará. There were other women back then working with tattooing, but there's nothing about them in the newspapers. But I remember them. So we talked a lot about my story with tattooing and how I developed this. I was part in a group with a lot of other women, the tattooists, to strengthen our work in this industry that was very, back then, closed off. And today we see how it's changed and it became a more ritualistic space, more intuitive space. It diversified. I'm so grateful for that. But then the pandemics came and in my life, many things shifted and I've been looking more into another side of my work. I will never leave tattooing. I think it's something that is my passion and devotion to others. But I've been working more towards painting lately, which is a bunch of things you can do. See here behind me, talks about that. And yeah, I came here to share about that today more with you, my recent journey for the last 5 years since we last spoke.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into it.
I started looking more into painting, which is something that I've always done even before tattooing, right? I've always loved doing watercolor or painting fabrics or painting walls. But I had never really given time to study other forms of painting as a self-taught artist. And during the pandemics, in one of my depression plunges, I saw this woman doing a journey on visionary art, and she sold a course after the journey she did. She did a whole week journey with people, and I saw the last lecture, and I just thought, I'm going to buy this course or I'm going to die here. So I joined her course. Her name is Talia, and if she happens to end up listening to this, thank you so much, Talia. She actually became huge in Brazil. She has a huge community with a bunch of people where she teaches them how to paint and different techniques that she learned from Amanda Sage and Oleg Geralev. I don't know how to say his name. This is visionary Russian oil painting master. So she passes the knowledge along. And in 2020, I felt like studying with her and meeting new people through her course kind of rescued me, especially because, through meditation, without any forms of psychedelics of any kind, I had visions and I painted those visions. And later on, those visions actually brought me here, back to the United States, to live paint in different festivals and places. So I was really grateful to be a part of that and to connect with the Brazilian community of visionary painters through her, especially in those hard times for us. Like the online movement was all we had, right? And then what happened is also because I had been here right before the pandemics, I visited the United States twice and I visited the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. And I made friends there. One of my good friends, Caitlin, I also met her online through the pandemics, through the Vision Train. I don't know if you heard of them.
Yeah, I was doing that during the pandemic too.
Yeah, that was like such a great thing that Amanda also did. And I'm so grateful for that. Many people have joined the wagon and journeyed painting together, which I think is such a powerful movement, right? And especially in grief times, I think arts rescues us. And then I started coming back here because of painting. Since I have this business visa that allows me to be here and informally study art with other artists and showcase my work. So I started coming back here to live paint. So I went to this festival called Unifier in Toland, Massachusetts, by invitation of Caitlin, where I met Rosa Barrel and Martin Bridge and Carl Bridge and other amazing artists, like Leah Calderi also is a tattoo artist, that we later on for a while, we did something similar, like I told you, with the tattooistas in Brazil and the collective group of women to showcase our work worldwide. We created the International Tattooers Alliance and started thinking about like, how could we spread our work together, pollinate. Ended up fading with time, Instagram pages. I guess we used Instagram, but we've been using it for so long that maybe I personally am kind of tired of playing the game there all the time, right? But we, for a moment, went through that journey together, which was beautiful, interconnectedness of her and another friend from Brazil that lives in Berlin and some other friends in Brazil. We started doing that for a while and it was very special. It was very special being Unified Live Painting with other artists for the first time, right? And seeing the power of my art as how I feel alive when I'm painting with other people or when the art is being seen, because I guess that's one of the reasons why we do art, right? To share. And then my paintings are a devotional work of me to the world and from me, not necessarily from me to someone else. So this brought really a calling that I still am listening to, diving more into my visions and try to portray what, at least for me, I think, especially this year, I've been diving a lot into my prayer practices since the 6th of January. I've been diving into that and daily practice and working on trust and finding the paths and the correct ways of where I should be. It's been a very transformative sabbatical year for me. And in the middle of this journey, so many things have been happening. And I have been kind of looking to my art and understanding more of its message and wanting to open up the portal so I can bring more of that. So in 2023, when I came here, this awakened me the desire of coming back here and study more and be able to present more of my work, And then in 2024, I got invitation from the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors to live paint in one of the full moon gatherings they have there every month. I was deeply honored and so excited to be there for that, right? I mean, Alex and Alison Gray have been inspiring me in my artistic journey way before I became an artist or a tattoo artist for that matter. I was a secretary in some company in Brazil when I first saw their art and I didn't even have tattoos. And so it was really inspiring to be back there to paint. And the same year I went to Burning Man to live paint. I was invited to live paint and showcase a part of my work in the center camp. And that was an incredible experience. I think it's amazing to be there. I learned a lot of things about, and I had listened a lot of things about Burning Man before I went there, and I was glad I got to see it with my own eyes and experience the beauty of exchange and the serendipitous encounters with amazing, extraordinary people. I honestly don't have like one single bad memory to share about Burning Man, you know. So being there with my art was really potent, and I'm very grateful for their invitation. I almost went there this year again, but how can I say? I actually wrote the word here so I couldn't forget. Sometimes I forget because it's a different language, right? Unexpected, like an unusual event made me, alongside my prayers and try to understand the path works and where I should go, made me unfortunately not able to go this year, which I kind of understood afterwards. This year in Burning Man, they had severe storms and possibly my art could have been ruined there. So I just accepted afterwards that, you know, when sometimes things come our way and we don't understand, oh, but why is this happening? And suddenly things are not flowing in that direction. And sometimes we need to listen to that wisdom. Maybe we are supposed to be somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. And in my pursuit with painting, coming back to last year, I met this amazing artist here. His name is in New York. His name is Steve Latta, and I took some oil painting classes with him. This is part of our study together. And also this painting here, it's the study we've been doing this year. So I've been coming here to showcase my work and to also like live paint and to also study with artists that I admire, you know, in order to learn more and make have a better skill. I had never studied oil paint deeply, and it's been a very nice journey to be able to come here and have friends that welcome me here while I do my study journeys, right? Especially this year, I actually was a huge honor. I was selected to study in the painting intensive course with Alex and Alison Gray in COSM. It started actually in the day of my birthday. So I celebrated my birthday this year, studying with them for a week, meeting amazing artists with this beautiful sense of community that are there to support each other. It has been such a beautiful journey since we last spoke, and the way I've been called in my spirit to paint and to learn about paint. And I've been also sharing the path, right? Before I came here, also I did a workshop in Brazil about creativity, because on the contrary, that's taught in our civilizatory process that art is for the gifted. I believe art is something natural that we need to reclaim. So I've also been doing that in the middle of all these studies and invitations to be here. It's been a wild ride. This year, I didn't go to Burning Man, but I've been to COSM again to live paint. I went to a festival called Secret Dreams and live painted with my friend for her art, which is the same friend that has invited me to Unifier. Her name is Caitlin Cronin. Her art is beautiful and talks about the connection with plants, which is something that I have been also called to talk, you know, in my work, prayer and connection to the other realms of this reality. I truly believe that we lost connection, the connection we seek in religion, the connection sometimes we seek others that may not respect us. As a collective, we lost the connection with life. You know, we have an anthropocentric view that set us from the moment we start gaining consciousness as a superior species. And I think that's where we make the mistake and that's where we lose the connection with the other living beings, because we believe that connection will only be made by rational or logical means. And we forgot the feeling of life and the understanding of the sacredness of the land and everything it gives us. If we think about it, everything we eat, even the phones we're using to talk to each other, we need crystals, we need plastic, everything comes from the land. So yeah, my visions, they are supposed to remember that, also that sacred path, you know, of connection of our spirit with the spirit of this place that forms us. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa, I told you the whole journey.
Yeah, we're caught up now. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Mari. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
listening. Hope it wasn't a lot, in a like a whole journey. Woo, like
It
whole
is,
text.
though, and that's beautiful. I mean, you are living your life to the fullest, and I think that is so inspiring, and especially to our listeners here. Some are listening to activate their own creativity, to begin their journey as artists, or to
Mm-hmm.
honor it alongside us and appreciate and collect the work to help collect the memories of our truth and our connection to the earth, and that to feel that resonance again. And I think what fascinates me is how you choose to live your life and the day to day of that, because you're a creative entrepreneur and
Mm-hmm.
you do it you do so many things in a very organic flow and very in tune with your own rhythms and with nature, and are very connected to that, to the to your intuition and to your the sacredness of life. And so I would love to hear about what that feels like for you on the inside of your soul, in your body, to be traveling, to be painting, to be tattooing, to be running your business, to be
Mm-hmm.
in relationship. Those are lots of big, big, big things to, some would say, to juggle. I don't know
Oh,
if
I know.
that's the word for
Yeah,
you
I
or
felt
if
that
it
word.
feels, yeah, you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it
Yeah.
feel like a juggle, like, or does it feel
Well,
different for you?
it feels more like a flow in a learning. It's funny you say that to me because at the moment, for the first time, I'm actually living a sabbatical. And I took the time, I organized myself. I did the big events in Sao Paulo to organize myself to be here and not necessarily have to be back so quickly to Brazil. And the tattoo industry has been shifting a lot. And the way I used to work with tattooing would consume. I mean, I told you I painted with watercolor, but sometimes it would take me 4 years to finish a painting that's smaller than this in watercolor because I do so many details, and I would always have the tattooing as the first, thing. And then I moved out of Sao Paulo and kind of restrained the time for tattooing in specific pockets of time each month. And after I tattooed for so many years and having like my books filled for so long, and with the shift of the industry and the shift of algorithms and stuff, I kind of felt called to do something different. And learning from a friend, Lisa, my good friend, she tattooed this beauty here, and we're partners. We work together in Brazil. She's one of my good friends. Well, learning from her and with her, I actually started a group with my closest clients that today we have like a WhatsApp group with almost 200 people. And this is my first contact with my what today people call audience. They are my clients, actually. I know their stories. I know them. It's a lot of people to know, but I know them. Right? They have been through the ritual. They have been in my house some of them many times, became friends. Some of them are like further away, but like there's like a newsletter with almost 3,000 people that I can contact with, and so I've been managing doing that while I moved to the beach in order to have a more quiet life. And this is what I've been called to do, when I come back to Brazil. I don't think I will be in the craziness of Sao Paulo that I did that for 16 years. And this is sort of what I feel here. I love to be traveling here. I love meeting. I learn a lot, and I come here to study art, and I have amazing artist friends here that I love a lot. And I learn a lot from them. And this is like a place where I come, drink from the visionary artists' wisdom, right? And share celebrations because there's also people that have this vision, right? Of the sacredness of the land. So it's very nice, but there's a part of me that longs to be more quiet. When I come back to Brazil, I want to be back into this rhythm of staying far from the city so I can have more time to listen and paint. After coming here and studying, and then I go back to Brazil, organize the trip. I'm going to be there back again, maybe 10 months. And then what do I need to do, to do that? And sometimes I spend 3 months here. It's a long planning that I need to do. So I'm looking forward to take a pause, next year and dive more into painting before I can come back here again, So this year I'm trying to make the most of this travel, but there's a part of my spirit who feels called to introspection, to paint. Yeah, definitely. But I feel amazing and so grateful with the opportunity that I have. I mean, I feel truly blessed that I, throughout the years, have made amazing friends that feel like sisters here that, well, like I said, welcome me or, teach me or invite me to showcase my work. I think, yeah, I'm happy that I learned English, so I can be here today and be able to, collect this knowledge and add it to my work in order also to take, right, to my country. And I actually invited some of my friends here to meet Brazil. And there are some plannings and other things for next year that I will share when ideas are more solid. But I think it's a beautiful exchange, right, between our cultures. And I think in the times that we're living, it's so important to bridge cultures through love, through art, through hope, as if I have come into, especially with the prayers and the daily prayers, I have come into a space inside in my life that I don't want to feel knocked down by the cruel reality of the world. If there's the yin and yang, I'm going to be working for the good side and I'm not going to lose. And I'm going to do everything I can throughout life, facing whatever challenges come to the human life with this attitude, right? And this conviction that if we feel called to art, I think it's our nature to feel called to art. Whatever type of expression art is, can be dancing, writing, cooking, so many types of art. Painting is one of them, right? Tattooing is another, but there are so many types of arts. And whatever we feel called to, that spark, it's innate, it's natural. I wrote something that I wanted to share with you. Yeah. Sometimes I feel that we feel lost because we lost the capacity to understand that instead of something for only the gifted, art is this calling for our inner nature, And then when we look for our inner nature, we are also looking for that connection that I told you with nature herself, right? It's like a walking back home, walking to our own creativity and finding ways and finding sacred space for that. And I'm not blind, of course, to the fact that in the world, some people are in such conditions that they can't think about art, right? It's also a privilege. And looking to that, why I feel called to talk about it and try to ignite that, because I think the more people that feel called really try to walk the path the best way, they can also play a part in transforming the world slowly as it is, I think it happens, and yeah. I always, whenever we talk about the world, I get into this place of barrier where many of us may be fearful of whatever happens, or whatever is happening in our own time that make us fearful. And I have come to terms with the fact that fear shouldn't stop us to doing what we believe, because it's 8 billion people and so many levels of, we can think about how there are isolated people and there are people like Elon Musk. There are so many realities happening. What are we here to do, and do that? And if it's related to art, I think it's a divine calling to connect with our inner nature and nature. And yeah.
It's funny, I saw some study done actually right before we got on the call today to do this. And it was an example of how babies actually are not born with fear. And they're in a room playing with
snakes.
Did
I
you see
saw,
that?
that's beautiful. Yeah.
And the only thing they actually innately are afraid of is a loud noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about every single fear you have today,
It's been
it's
imposed
been
on us.
learned,
Yeah.
especially if it has to do with art or any form of creation.
Yeah.
That has absolutely been shoved into your brain by somebody else.
Yeah. You know Hundet Vasa, he's an Austrian artist, and he said that art is only a commodity and something for the gifted in an enslaved society. In a free society, art is as normal as grass. And if we think about the original peoples of the world, you know, if you go into into their lives, and you'll see that everybody can do the art they do. You know, it's not, it's available. And then we get into this crazy civilizatory process in society that, is teaching us to be super smart, super intelligent, superior, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the art is just for the gifted. I think that's so insane. And it's so introjected. That's a word, right?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of, in our minds for so long, I think in Elizabeth Gilbert TED Talk, Your Elusive Creative Genius, she talks about that, like how also in the last 500 years, the idea of a good artist is being related to being a genius rather than having a genius connection with creativity, because I think actually art is about harnessing that connection. Being a good artist is about practice. It's about listening to that call and creating sacred space. And Alison Gray also, she says a lot about that. If you want to do art, you have to have a space for that. You have to have a space in your life, in a little table where you're going to have whatever you decide you have to practice there. Even if it's just you're going to buy paper and some sort of, I don't know, different types of graphite to practice. Then that's what you're going to do for a year, every day for half an hour. See your progress for a year. We can only learn by consistency. So it's actually kind of, and Talia also said that a few times already, it's actually kind of unsettling to say it's for the gifted only, because you're not considering that actually I'm not here out of nowhere, out of gift. I came here because I've been working hard. And I'm not saying that there aren't gifted people, because there are. Sometimes you will see a video of this child that's 2 years old and is playing the piano like he's Mozart, Personally, believing in reincarnation, and I don't understand its rules, of course, but I do believe that could happen. And we come here, with openness and talent for some things more than others, but we are also here to learn. And I think that's one of the things that I like to poke. You find it beautiful. Well, how about you try it? Right? Because I think...
Go.
No, I think it's a beautiful part of sometimes finding a purpose here. If we love the planet because of its beauty, we can understand that a beautiful purpose in life is to create beauty. It could be useful beauty, it could be just for the sake of contemplation, but it's a purpose. Yeah. So sorry, you were saying?
How do you feel about income as an artist, making money from your work? And has tattooing been your sole income?
Yeah.
And are you switching that to painting now?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I started with the tattooing in such a way in Brazil. I think it was like this wave when I started. Like I said, there wasn't fine line tattooing. People were advocating against it in the studio that I started. Many people were advocating against it in the tattoo industry. And up until then, some women had to get together and say, hey, we exist. So
what do you mean? Just like being a woman and tattooing in Brazil was
being a woman and doing fine line. In my story and in the story of many of my friends, we kind of encountered that barrier of people resisting the fine line and saying it wasn't going to be something, or that it was going to fade away, that was not going to be a good tattoo with time. And I mean, I have this gray tattoo here in my hand for more than 10 years now. It's a fine line gray wash to prove then it's here. And I've been tattooing for 18 years and it works. It's maybe not mainstream or not what's the usual, because usually tattooing is about contrast and it's about seeing from afar, but it's also something personal. And I think me and many women, and today also beyond the gender, I have come in because I know many guys and trans people that do fine line work, so I guess this just boomed and became like, there were a lot of people that wanted that kind of work, right? So for a long time, tattooing became that for me. And I mean, for 7 or 8 years, I actually would open my bookings once a year. It was crazy. I remember actually feeling kind of suffocated. And as grateful as I was, it's hard for me to say no. I remember I wanted to have free Saturdays and I was always like, oh, I have someone that I need to finish something, and this Cancer star sign, open heart, who just want to welcome everybody and make everybody happy. And let's finish this beautiful, and let's do this, and also working a lot and thriving, with income from my tattooing. And I am grateful that I feel very well rewarded for my work in my country. And with the shiftings in the industry after the pandemics, many new people started tattooing. Some people today, I don't know if you feel that here, but it has been happening in Brazil, like shiftings in the prices and a lot of stuff. But like I said, I had my community. I told you about the group and then the newsletter. So I kind of talk to my clients through different ways. And I also offer paintings today. Like I did this huge sale before I came here. And when I collected all these years in São Paulo of doing random paintings, thinking, okay, I want more time for painting, but I actually had almost 200 pieces of paintings between watercolors and fabric paintings, like this cutie here. So I sold a bunch of my art. Oh, this is a hummingbird drinking from its own nectar.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So I sold a bunch of my art and I saw the potential of having like a way to share more, because actually people only access me through tattooing, and then I have clients buying my art when they come to my studio, but I never had something online up until recently when I did that with one of my partners in Brazil. And we're actually working on creating something that will be possible to share my art more, not only with tattooing, but in other ways. Yeah. Because I definitely don't want to only tattoo. I love the ideas. Before the pandemics, I had opened my bookings for a retreat that involved tattooing, but also involved creativity. I would create. It was a dance, design, and tattoo retreat. It was sold out. And then the pandemics hit and I never did it. But I also am inspired by the idea of getting people together for retreats in nature with creativity. So I'm definitely bringing in, like, not transitioning of a career, because my idol is the Kalinga Wang Odd, right? I hope I'm tattooing as long as I can. I love to do that to people. I really feel my heart full when somebody is happy with their tattoo, and I feel like it's a mission of my soul. But
tell our audience who the Kalinga.
Oh, Kalinga, she's this 106-year-old traditional tattooer from the Philippines. Kalinga is her tribe. Her name is Wang Odd. And yeah, she's been tattooing till this day. And she also has like 3 nieces that she has taught. But people still go to tattoo with her in the Philippines. And I just love her. She's an icon, right?
Have you gotten tattooed by her?
Oh, no, I would love to go there. I remember talking to a friend of mine. This was before the pandemics, thinking, oh my God, like people probably, it's already, I thought we shouldn't go because we're going to be another disturbance. People are already like going there a lot. It's a small place, and we're thinking about that. But I don't know, maybe not. Maybe should do that, while she's here and pay the respects and honor and meet this living legend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll do that. Especially now that I'm traveling. Yeah.
How do you feel about the cleanliness of it? Do you think of it?
Well, I don't know exactly how she does it, but I personally have learned the Sakyant in Thailand, and I think the cleanliness and the biosafety measures, they can be done. It's a procedure that we can do anywhere, right? I personally don't mind tattooing in the outdoors, I think that the healing of the tattoo and the care, if we know our biosafety measures and can prepare the environment, we can prepare the environment wherever we are. And And then the care for the tattoo afterwards, how we clean the tattoo, how we protect the tattoo, right? Those 15 days right after we do it. It's also like very important for the outcome and how if it's going to be infected or not, you know. But I think the biosafety measures, I tattooed a friend of mine in a waterfall, and I just covered everything that I could where we were. I tattooed her hand, you know, we know what we're doing, especially been doing it for so many years, right? And of course, very mindful not to leave anything behind, or also like, I'm not painting someone with this super magnum, like, and making bleeding. It doesn't even bleed, you know, of course there's blood involved. It's not because that I don't see it, it's not there, but like, it's not dripping.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, how can I say, it's not spilling, you know, when it spills sometimes, or it could do that, especially in hard works when there's like a lot of painting, but no. So I think we can be cautious. I don't know how Kalinga does, but I saw that in Thailand and I felt safe. I learned their ways, you know, and I think, yeah, we know the ways for cross-contamination, when we touch or what with where, and the gloves, and take the gloves, you know.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
that.
For sure for us doing it, but I've just seen them using like the same towels like for many people all day and things like that. So I just think about diseases in that form.
Oh my God.
You know?
I would never
Have you seen
accept
that?
I don't know. I haven't seen that. I think in the Kalinga, I don't know if she does that. I've never seen that from her. What I know from her is that she uses this when you go there. There's a whole, I've saw documentaries on her, and there's a whole ritual actually. If you go there to tattoo with her, when you arrive there, she will kill a pig. And if the insides of the pig are bad, you can't stay. If the insides of the pig are good, there's going to be a feast in your honor. And you're going to get tattooed by her. And she chooses one spike of her lemon tree. And that's your spike. But I don't think she uses the same spike. So I don't know about the usages of cloth. I haven't been there. I would assume, I don't know, she would boil them. I have no idea of the specifics, you know, but I don't know. It's such a different reality from our super westernized, you know, we should be super clean. I think one of the things, I don't know if you've heard of this, kind of changing a little bit of the idea, but also talking about our connections with nature. I don't know if you heard of this, but many of our depression can come from unregulated gut, dysregulated gut. I don't know if you heard of that. There's been recent studies talking about it. And the original peoples, they have a bacteria natural from the gut called Heuteris that is essential for our understanding of empathy. And only the original peoples of Earth today have them because they are still connected to the land in a deep way. And the people that live in cities and eat processed foods, and we are super like sterilized from the environment as if the earth is dirty. We lost a lot of healthy things in connection with biology. So I'm not saying, you know, this is another side, right? I'm not saying that, okay, it's okay to get tattooed and use the same cloth you use in your friend. No. But also, I think the whole, like, there's some things for us to look at that, right? For some procedures, it's very important in the way we do it and how we do it. But we've also become so sterilized that it's also making us weak and sick. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good balance and understanding of it all matters.
Yeah. I personally, especially because of the contact with the psychedelics, like I told you, in ritualistic ways that have put me back into this kind of try to recuperate and reclaim this wild side. I don't want to disregard all of the learnings. God damn it, if you need to give me allopathic medicine, I'll take it, you know. But I'm just saying, like, our knowledges and the ways we learn from life and how we should be, how clean we should be, or how this or that we should be, or how civilized we should be, maybe it's lacking the connection with nature to be as if diversity will be healthier for us rather than standardizing. And yeah, I'm kind of making a mix of everything with that, but I think this is an umbrella that talks about all of that. When do we need to use, let's say, antidepressants? When do I need to be super biosafety measured for a tattoo? When do I, need to be with my feet on the mud, and being a part of this environment and sitting in front of a waterfall and learning something from it that doesn't require words,
Yeah, that's funny. Interesting. I have two visions like popping through my mind right now. One is of a memory I have of going into my backyard as maybe 6 or 7 years old, and I just covered my body in mud. And my mom came outside and saw me and screamed, "What are you doing?"
I'm getting some vitamin E, vitamin Earth.
I was like, "I'm taking a mud bath, Mom."
People pay expensive for that today.
Yeah, this is just in the yard. It's free.
Yeah.
And then I remember my first experience with the mushrooms in a very intentional way. And I remember going to I was camping, so I went to the restroom and had a moment of seeing all the germs, and the anxiety left. And it was an understanding that the germs and the bacteria were good. They were good. They were not evil. Yeah. And we needed each other. Yeah. And that what you're saying with the gut, I mean, it's all bacteria. We need to have it. And what's happening in modern medicine, being prescribed so many antibiotics, like our bodies are starved of that, of the good bacteria, and we're losing that. So this is something I want to talk about more, actually, and I'm glad this is kind of coming up, is that my dad was a physician, an ER doc, and I started getting tattoos and I would get infection. Like I remember calling him for my first tattoo infection from the shower water in LA. And he said, "Okay, well, I'll prescribe you some antibiotics." And I said, "Okay." And what I learned over time was that, well, he told me they don't really understand tattoo infections in modern medicine. Like they're not taught anything about it. They don't understand it. So they just say, "Okay, well, here's an antibiotic." And the problem is that we don't actually need to take antibiotics for tattoo infections. And if you can catch it, especially if you can catch it right away, the topical antibiotic, triple antibiotic ointment you get at the drugstore, and basic wound care, hydrogen peroxide, that's what it is. Hydrogen peroxide and some triple antibiotic ointment will heal your tattoo from a bad infection.
And you don't need to take any medicine.
You don't need to take any medicine.
Oh, I've never heard of that. People taking actual medicine for that. That's crazy.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. So
that's insane. Wow.
Like if we can avoid taking some antibiotics when we can, we should. And if you ever get a tattoo infection, go get triple antibiotic ointment. Don't take.
It's just superficial. It's just on the skin. We don't need to take antibiotics. I've never heard of that, because throughout my career with tattooing, whenever somebody had an infection, like it's kind of red, right, around it, there's some pus or whatever, then there's this specific medicine with antibiotics that you use it on topic, only there.
Exactly, only there.
I've never heard of somebody taking medicine for that. Like,
well, here the doctors, they just give it out like lollipops, and
that's crazy,
killing us.
It's the consumerism also of medicine, right? Allopathic medicine, like without really thinking about it.
Yeah.
In the countries, both our countries of consumerism, because Brazil follows a lot of whatever United States is doing. Yeah.
Don't follow us. Don't follow us. Nobody knows what's going on here, okay? Nobody's in control. It's a shit show, right?
There are plenty of good things to do, but not that one.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad it went there. Yeah. And I'm like, I would consider myself like a germaphobe, even though I understand it with tattooing. I'm really, really, really careful and
Yeah.
really cautious of what.
We become freaks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I kind of feel like I have OCD. I'll say always cleaning my hands with especially after the pandemics, with the hand sanitizer and, I think it knocks on our tattoo modus operandi. I don't know how to say that in English, like the way we act, our mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because we are dealing with health issues and with someone else's life. So I guess it comes on our brain, the second thought, first thought and second thought and third thought.
Mari, I would kind of shift back to something we were talking about earlier.
Let's go. Yeah.
When I think about selling art, how do you feel about it? Because I know some of the artists that I coach have really struggle with the idea of it, making such deeply meaningful, intentional, soul created work, then to feel like you have to hustle it to make a living for yourself from that can almost feel like completely the opposite of the experience you're going for, basically. What do you feel about it? How do you feel about shifting into making a living with now your paintings?
Well, I believe there's a lot of people that are interested in buying art. We have a lot of people with money in the world that are willing and that like art. And I think there's a mindset, especially I'm saying that also for me, I want to find these people. I remember when I was live painting this one in Burning Man, I actually have her contact and we've been in contact, but I told her I need 2 years to finish this piece. I wasn't ready to let it go. And I actually still have a lot of details to go here. And with my schedule and traveling and everything, I told her if I had 3 months just for this, I'm going to finish it. But as the way things are going, I'm going to take more time. But she's this beautiful Ukrainian model who lives in LA, actually. I'll be in touch with her when it's done. Maybe she wants it, maybe not. But this is something that is very special inner vision. If I'm selling an original that I'm not going to give, let's say I'm not going to make any print of it, and she's going to be the only owner. And I'm going to count all the hours that I've painted on this, which are countless already. I don't remember. And it's going to be a high price because I need to value my work. And in that is embedded all the years of everything that I've done to get here. And I think it's a very important thing, especially as a woman, to value our work, to value the hours. And I also don't want to be inaccessible. So let's say I would only sell this for a very good price without making prints if the owner really no, I want this just for me. And then it would have a way different value. But what I actually want is that this reach a lot of people. So I want to have accessible prints. I think there are many ways we can navigate because the art world has many different paths. There's the galleries. I think it's a harsh one sometimes, but there's collectives that we can go and work together and learn from. Groups of people where we can share our art and learn from these strategies and marketing and publicity and how to access more people with our art, right? So usually listen from people in general that it's hard to make a living out of art, but I think it's a journey also, especially whatever I think we put our energy and work towards, we can get, right? But it's not something that is going to come easy. Let's say I want to start an online store. Even with the whole journey that I have, I don't believe that if I start an online store necessarily in the first month, I'm going to be, wow, maybe it's going to take me a year or two to understand strategies and study and learn from that and learn from the markets and prices from where am I selling to? Is it here? And am I selling from United States to Brazil with these big tariffs that we're having now? Or, what can be done and how can I make it accessible for people that can't afford it, especially coming from Brazil, which is an unequal country, and I don't want my art to be inaccessible, right? But also, I know there are people that are interested in having personalized artwork or original artwork for high prices. And yeah, I have partnerships in Brazil that we actually had a meeting the other day and we talked about it, these people that they have the gallery called Visionarium in Brazil, and they also work in that field. So I think it's something also, it's part of the work of an artist to study and understand the fluctuations and the implications of how to sell our art. It's one of the courses that actually Talia teaches the course to paint, but she also has a course in her community called How to Sell Your Art, right? And I think it's part of the job. We would love if we could just paint, right? Leave us in nature just painting, and somebody come here, collect and sell them for us, and we get 50%. It's great. We just want to be here painting.
Yeah,
That would be easy. But I also think as women, it's a part of our also like autonomy to be learning how to do that, and it's not only women, but I think we need community. When I look, for example, at Alex and Allison, Alex had a hard journey, and he met Allison, and through that connectivity and support, they built a beautiful story together. But they didn't do it alone. They have a beautiful network around them of people doing that place, making that place exist. COSM and Antion. It's just like 20 people or maybe more. Like they are constantly there making that happen. There's a website there. Instagram, there's like the events, right? So much things to be done that needs and takes the support of the community. And I do believe that we can sell art also by making our community through our art, and I think sometimes can be very daunting and hard for somebody who's, I want to be an artist, but I have never painted. How can I make a community? People don't even know what I do. And I think we have to remember to take one step at a time. And I don't know how it's going to be if one day how much money will I make of my paintings exactly, but I am working that parallel with the tattooing and with what I offer, and slowly decide and learn as I go, Right now I'm in the investment part. I'm here studying, and showcasing my work and making connections, right? But I'm aiming, right, as I'm also talking to my partners in Brazil and constructing, slowly building ideas that will take place there next year when I come back there, possibly in November. But I think it's a learning process, and we need to study, and it's about being determined and making space. Otherwise, we can't do it, and nobody's going to do it for us, I can only paint in oil because I got here and took some classes. Who am I going to study with to learn about pricing, about and how can I make it work in Brazil? How can I make it work somewhere else? How can I create, let's say, I'm going to say for somebody who just started painting and they like what they're doing, okay, you make a page, show people, show your closest friends, ask their opinion, right? Ask them to share with their friends, take the criticism as something that will make you grow, and if it's a bad criticism, tell the person to shove up there, and keep, I think one of the things that happen a lot in the world, sometimes it's ourselves, sometimes it's the world, sometimes we feel the obstacles and we want to give up and we can't. Because this is the moment we have, the present, the life we have, this consciousness in this body we have now. And we should make the most of it, And I'm saying this coming from a place where I have been depressed with the sadness of the world, but art has always been an anchor and a saving point for my soul. So I do believe that it's a way of living that we need to, find ways and learn from how best to do and share. Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Beautiful. Madi, we have something that we're doing together. Maybe we should
talk about it
a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be there to express more deeply and in presence my ideas about how art is something natural. And we're going to do a workshop, possibly with watercolor, on creativity and how to express yourself. And, now that we're talking about it, even before thinking about becoming an artist, doing art to express yourself, as a therapeutic way of living. It's an anti-anxiety method. It's a medicine. Art is a medicine. So I think this workshop is about that. Seeing art as medicine and as a soothing practice for the soul, and something that is accessible because it's natural. So to me, it's what I want to share with all my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So we'll have more info about that. You, Mari. I think that feels complete.
Complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I feel it too. It's beautifully 1 hour.
It is?
It was really beautiful journey. Thank you for listening so
too.
much. It was nice to, express myself and share my visions and reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening and being a part of Her Ink Empire. Remember, this is only the beginning. Your empire is already unfolding. Until next time, stay bold, stay aligned, and stay true to you as you build your artistic legacy.